Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 14th, 2026 meeting of the Abington Township Board of Commissioners. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioners Rosenbaum,
Here.
Rothman,
Here.
DePlacido,
Here.
Laney Martin,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Weingrod,
Here.
Henry. Here. Zapone, Young Gertz,
Here.
Spiegelman,
Here.
Hertel,
Here.
Schreiber,
Here.
Bowman,
Here.
Vice President Vehy,
Here.
President Hecker.
Here. Thank you. May we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. One quick announcement before we have our presentation. The Board of Commissioners met in an executive session earlier this evening for the purposes of talking about real estate matters. And now we're going to have an update from the Economic Development Corporation and the Executive Director, Mr. John Dean.
First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me this evening.
Good evening, Mr. Dean.
I think you all have received my report that I gave to my Economic Development Corp. At our last annual meeting that we had pertaining to the finances and also the accomplishments that we had. What I'd like to do tonight is just do a summary of what that report is and answer any kind of questions that you may have. The annual financial and independent audit report for the year ending December 31st, 2025 was prepared by Zelenkowski Axelrod, LLC, which is a new auditing firm for both the EDC and Abington Township. The independent auditor issued an unmodified opinion stating that the financial statement fairly represents the financial position of Abington Township Economic Development Corporation as of December 31st, 2025. The financial highlights are as follows. The EDC currently does not have any operational revenue. We are a brand new entity that was started about a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit longer, and we have not generated any type of income at all, although we are working towards finding ways to start doing that. As a startup, the Abington Township has contributed $600,000 to support the EDC in its startup and operational needs. Total operating expenses for 2025 was $108,004, for which the largest expense categories are the following. Legal services was $41,000, which was used for organizational startup costs and advisory costs. Consulting fees were 35%, primarily associated with the Keswick Village project, and payroll expenses was $16,000. The EDC ended the year with a net position of $491,383. As of December 31st, 2025, the cash balances totaled $493,500 held at Fulton Bank. Accounts payables totaled $2,117 for pending invoices to be paid, with a net position which remains strong at $491,383. The report reflects financially a stable startup year for the EDC with resources positioned to support us going forward for future economic development initiatives. With regard to the activities and accomplishments of the EDC in 2025, the Abington Township Economic Development Corporation experienced significant organizational transition and progress during the year. In June of 2025, Rich Manfredi stepped down as the EDC's initial executive director. I resigned as the vice chair of the EDC board and assumed the responsibilities of the executive director's responsibilities in June of 2025. For the first time, we were set up originally as a consultant when it came to the executive director's position. The board has agreed that I would become an employee of the EDC, and I am the only employee of the company. During the year, in its transition period, the board approved a new payroll company, appointed 2 new board members, who were Jill Graziano and Greg Lair, who are very strong individuals who are supporting the future initiatives of the Economic Development Corporation. Strong working relationships were also established with the township's administrative staff, who I really thank quite a bit for supporting someone who knows nothing about how townships and municipalities work. Throughout the year, the board focused its understanding on its role in supporting economic growth and development within Abington Township. A major priority of the Keswick Village was the Keswick Village project in 2025, which has been discussed for a while. The project centers on streetscaping and facade improvements within the Keswick Village area. The key accomplishments related to the Keswick Village project includes the following: hosting informational meetings for businesses and residents, which was organized by Darren Asper of the Delta Development Group to identify community needs and concerns. A request for proposal was prepared to secure a consultant for preliminary cost study to do the work in the Keswick Village area. An application was submitted and approved for a $50,000 grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development through the Community and Economic Assistance Program. With that approval, a second RFP to secure a consultant to develop and design improvement plans and estimate costs for streetscaping and facade enhancements was prepared. The EDC received the grant money in January of 2026, which enabled the EDC to move forward with an invitation to submit and approve an RFP. The contract was granted to Simone Collins of Norristown, who has done work with Abington Township in the past, and the progress of the project for the facade work and the street work for the Keswick Village has started. Overall, 2025 was a foundational year focused on organizational development, collaboration, and learning township processes, which is positioning the EDC for future projects and long-term economic development initiatives. I'll take any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? No. Hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
for your time. Okay, we will move into public comment on matters that the board will be voting on this evening. If you have any comments, please come forward.
All right, my name is Adele Cubell, Abington. First, I'll start off with the minutes secretary is employed to write the summaries commissioners want written. For 5 years, my statements have been watered down into run-on sentences with odd wording and mistakes. Nothing I say is recorded correctly. It's not funny, Mr. Vahey. Summaries that destroy meaning is what we get. Does the solicitor approve of summaries that actually destroy the meaning of the speaker in the minutes? Ms. Purnell's compliments were very carefully written, the compliments directed to her, Ms. Purnell. Compliments directed to her, Ellen Stark, got little mention in the minutes. There's a lack of balance in even the most small ways. Ms. Lingman clearly stated that boards should not be inhabited by family members of those employed by the solicitor's firm or family members of commissioners. The secretary scrambled that information to such a degree, the continued word scrambles utilized by the secretary represent the needs for commissioners to hide information, the most basic information you're purposely hiding through the minutes. The EDC was not supported by citizens. Never, not one, came in to support it. The EDC is not getting a serious review. You've got to be joking, as Mr. Rothman promised. Instead, 3-year terms are set to go to the listed individuals. Where is the discussion? Where is the promise review? The Township of Abington has a poor reputation due to the decisions made here. Mr. Vahey No one compliments this township except those benefiting from your destructive decisions. You even have to create a cheerleading group for yourself with the Glenside Civic Association. The EDC will take millions while citizens get so little, it is jaw-dropping. Why can't green space be purchased? Why can't money be spent buying needed township benches? Abington benches are over 50 years old and splintered. It's a disgrace. More people wait for the buses all the time on dangerous streets. The benches are disgusting even. Getting an aquarium for Briarbush would be nice. When the wealthy were invested in Abington, Briarbush had 3 aquariums, birds and many animals, books and manipulatives. Now, it would be terrific if vines that kill park trees could be removed. Instead of buying salaries for workers, you prefer to pay expensive consultants who do nothing.
Ms. Kubel, please conclude your comments. Your time has expired.
Do you feel proud? How, commissioners, do you feel proud destroying this township while paying extravagant prices to connected consultants? Citizens get no say in decisions unless, of course, they are in total agreement of you. No need to meet with residents, as you call the citizens. No need at all.
Please conclude your comments and take
No
your
need.
seat.
Mr.
Thank you.
Vahey, you're a poor representative.
Take your seat. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak? If so, please come forward.
Hi, Joe Rooney in Ardsley. It's a little late, but Mother's Day was 4 days ago, so for all the great, wonderful moms in Abington, happy Mother's Day, a little belated. Moms who are on the board here, my own wife, so happy Mother's Day on that. I have a couple of questions about the EDC. I'll try and get it done here real quickly. So this covered 2025, so it's Mr. Manfredi and the other gentleman right here. So one of the statements said, throughout 2025, the members of the board have been active in understanding what our responsibilities are in supporting the township. So I thought that was all laid out, what the responsibilities are, but is there a chance we could get what they came up with as their responsibilities, rather than just saying we spent a year trying to figure it out? I understand diligent work on Keswick Village. The next thing is the award in January 2026. It says they applied for 50 grand. Is that what they received, was $50,000? And then a follow-on to that on the other page is the $50,000 reflected in the audit that was done. And just as I read through the stuff, I couldn't figure it out.
Okay.
Then, again, 2025 was a period of getting to know one another and individuals. I mean, we've all worked. That's a long time to get to know individuals. So I'm trying to figure out what they've done, and this is what I've come up with. We gave them 600 grand, from what I understand. There might be another 50,000 thrown into the pot with that. In the last year, they spent $108,004. Of that, $44,282 went to lawyers. $37,800 went to consultants. And then I'm guessing $17,280 for the gentleman's payroll. That's not a lot of economic development for the first 100 grand that they've spent. And I'm wondering how we couldn't have gotten just as much out of our economic development committee as opposed to the corporation. So I'm wondering about that. Then if we go on, there's 4 names listed for individuals. I can't figure out, does Liz Smith live in Abington Township? It looks to me like the other 3 people do, and it looks like she doesn't.
She does.
She does, okay, thank you very much. I just couldn't find it anywhere. It didn't say in her resume or anything with a local address. Let's see, new nominees. And are the new nominees replacing current members, or are they additions to the thing? They're additions?
They're additions.
Okay, it just wasn't covered there, so I thought. So I'll move on real quick. I only got a couple seconds left. I oppose appointing Mr. Clark as a hearing officer for ASD. He doesn't live in Abington. He doesn't really represent the interest of Abington taxpayers or Abington students. And there's a whole lot of people in Abington. We have, what, 49,000, 50,000 people, something like that. We ought to be able to find one good lawyer in Abington who can do that job. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room that wishes to speak? And if not, we'll turn to Zoom.
Ross Abel.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Good evening, my name is Ross Abel. I live on Washington Lane, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Tookoonee Creek and SPS Working Group, a coalition of residents and professionals from our area who are passionate about our watershed and access to green space. First, I especially want to thank Commissioners Weingrad and Spiegelman, State Reps Sanchez and Nelson, TTF, and the huge number of residents we've heard from for their support of our asks, and the board, staff, Planning Commission, EAC, and Shade Tree Commission for the substantial work that has gone into these conditions. There are real improvements here on landscaping, native planting, stormwater stream bank restoration, and protected bicycle access along Highland, and I want to acknowledge that. At the same time, I want to be clear about what is still unresolved. The current conditions do not explicitly guarantee preservation of a usable rear corridor along Tookoonee Creek for future restoration, maintenance access, or possible public access. They also do not require a formal good faith easement discussion, even though many of us believe that conversation is important. If the township believes it may want to pursue future work along the creek itself, then preserving that opportunity now would benefit us greatly in the future. That's especially true at the pinch point along the rear access road, where the alignment and slope treatment could make future continuity along the creek much more difficult. So while I appreciate the progress in this resolution, I want to put on the record that the community's interest in a stronger creek corridor, future restoration, and possible public access does not end with tonight's vote. We will continue to work with the township, neighboring municipalities, TTF, Montgomery County, and state partners to pursue these opportunities if and when the township is ready. To be clear on a potential greenway connection at this location, Cheltenham is currently acquiring parcels or has acquired parcels right across the tracks from SPS adjacent to the creek that will likely be utilized for a critical connection in the regional circuit trails that will connect Glenside to the Delaware River in one direction and the Wissahickon in the other. Our waterways are among our most important shared resources, and when communities can see them, care for them, and interact with them, that benefits the whole public and ultimately SPS's own employees as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Laura Lehman.
Laura Lehman from Meadowbrook, and so many things. So first of all, that report from the EDC, that is absolute BS that 600,000 is what has gone into that so far. I would say besides what Mr. Rooney mentioned, which were specific bills from the lawyers, et cetera, there were literally, I'm sure, at least hundreds of thousands of dollars of time and effort. Mr. Manfredi spent his time that we paid for a township manager working on the EDC night and day. And we literally had meeting after meeting. We had the Obermeyer group at very high cost, $350 or more an hour. That's just nonsense. We do need clarification and a full cost of what it has cost to put together this EDC. And we need to know exactly what those consultant fees were paid for. Manor Woods is a place that across from Alverthorpe Park that you are spending money to putting trails in right next to the nicest trails in the entire township. And as everybody knows, there's a plan for ball fields that is kept, actually a football field, but for ball fields that are very much desired. And so now you're putting in little trails and little parking areas. I have very little doubt that this is eating the elephant one bite at a time, and that you're putting in the infrastructure now, and that you will go where the residents have said they do not want it done. It makes no sense to spend that kind of money right across the street from the premier walking trails in the township. I'm worrying about Mr. Clark's role. I also worry, I oppose it, and there is no way that he is independent, and it is shocking to me that the opposing side has not protested, which worries me a little bit, because they should have, and the fact that they didn't means they're comfortable about something. And in the Leopard Road project that you have coming up tonight, there are no slopes provided. They should be provided now, not afterwards. The residents should have a right to see them now. By the sound of it, they will not even need to come before you or the residents again before they start working on this project. There's only 2 weeks before a construction meeting and 3 days before the pollution control is needed by the county. So I'm not sure why why are they having their thing heard when it's not complete? We deserve to have a complete application. So please deny that tonight and tell them to come back with a proper application with the slopes absolutely designated.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Lehman. All right, with that, we will move to the consent agenda, and I turn to Board Vice President Matt Vahey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for passage of the consent agenda, items A and B, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The consent agenda carries. We have no unfinished business. We will move right into new business, and I will once again turn to Board Vice President Matt Vahey.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item is BOC-03051426. Motion to approve the waiver of land development request for LD-25-04, 1900 Kenmore Avenue, at the SPS Technologies property. Preliminary and final land development plan, and adopt resolution number 26-018, and I so move.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, go ahead.
I spoke at length last 2 weeks ago, so I'm not going to repeat much of what I said there. This could be the last time we speak about this project as a board for a very long time. It's been a journey. Again, I want to thank the collaboration with the applicant, the neighbors, and tonight I want a special recognition for the township staff, solicitor, and this board. A lot of really great and creative work to get to where we are. I am concerned that as a township, we don't always have the reputation of being good for business, good for new ideas. This is what good looks like, and we should try to strive for this every chance we get going forward. Of course, it takes a good cooperative applicant, which we had here. That's not always the case, but we should make this effort as much as possible so that we can, continue to grow as a township. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Spiegelman?
Thank you, President Hecker. I just want to very briefly reiterate some of what talked about last time. I'm very much looking forward to everyone working collaboratively with SPS, and certainly for me, it'll be a priority to continue working good faith, as thus far in my interactions with them, that's what I've experienced, towards the priorities that Mr. Abel actually and his group have been working so hard to achieve, including, of course, the fulfillment of everything on everything listed by Shade Tree and Environmental Advisory Council, as well as ensuring access for conservation environmental purposes to the TTF Watershed Partnership folks and others for their various projects to have access to the creek, and also a connecting trail, even though of course that can't go creekside. But in addition, having meetings to discuss making as much creekside area available for public access as possible. So again, looking forward to working with SPS, and once again, great work, Vice President Vahey, on this odyssey that you and all of your neighbors in Ward 12 have been on. So thank you.
Any other comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next item of new business is BOC-04-051426. Presentation of land development number LD-24-04, 221 Morden Road, preliminary major subdivision land development plans. And I so move. Or,
Oh, I guess
it's not a motion.
not a motion. Is this just simply a presentation tonight, Chris? And there's no action being taken? Okay, and I see, it says Mr. Hassan, but I see Allison here, so I'm presuming that Allison's going to lead us through this. Good evening, Allison. How are you?
Good. Sorry, Mr. Hassan is not able to make it tonight. So,
We're happy to see you.
thank you. Really, this is a 4-lot subdivision and land development. The applicant is proposing to demolish the existing 2-story detached dwelling and all the accessory buildings on the site and subdivide the 5-acre parcel into 4 separate lots. And they're proposing single-family detached dwellings on each lot. They're also proposing, the associated concrete walkways, driveways, attached garages, and the off-street parking spaces that's required. They're also proposing stormwater management on the site, landscaping, some retaining walls due to some slopes on the site, and curbing, sidewalk, walkways. Each dwelling will be serviced by public water and sewer service. And they are proposing a new cul-de-sac road that's going to be 30 feet wide with a 50-foot wide right-of-way, which is being offered for dedication to the township. The applicant did go before Planning Commission back in December of 23-25, but more recently, last month, for preliminary major subdivision and land development only. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of the preliminary land development project with 2 conditions: that they satisfy fire marshal reviews and to make a good effort to work with the SDC for the tree counts and replacement of the trees and providing the associated tree species. So that's what I have for this project. They're going to be back for final land development plans, but they'll be back for prelim approval, but I didn't have a presentation.
That's okay. I think that's good. Are there questions from members of the board? And Mr. Chrisman, do we have an idea of when this would come back, or is that just subject to the applicant revising everything?
That's correct.
Okay, so no date certain, but we know there's preliminary planning commission approval pending them doing the 2 things in the letter, the transmittal letter. Okay, so then we'll wait to hear, and this will get placed on a future meeting agenda for a vote at a date to be determined.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, Allison.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is BOC-05-051426. Motion to approve the lot line adjustment for SD 2602 Leopard Road and 1015 Dixon Lane minor subdivision. And I so move.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Next item is BOC-06-051426. Motion to approve the substantial amendments to fiscal year 2023, plan year 2023, plan year 2024, and plan year 2025 of the CDBG annual action plan. And I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Next item is BOC-07-051426. Motion to adopt resolution number 26-019, authorizing an application for flood mitigation program grant in the amount of $154,050 from the Commonwealth Financing Authority of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there comments or questions from board members? Commissioner Schreiber.
Do we know where this grant money is going to be used?
So, yeah.
I assume you mean geographically speaking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is the Clearview Avenue, Rothley Avenue stormwater pipe. So it's my understanding, I don't know exactly where it is that it's basically going over the west side of the hill off Edge Hill Road, kind of behind Briar Bush, or to the side of Briar Bush.
Yeah.
So where
Okay.
the train tracks are?
The other side of the train.
Yeah, because Rothley's on one side, Clearview's on another side of, there's the train tracks in between the two. Oops.
Is that me? Sorry. I didn't realize I created such feedback on a microphone. I'll be honest, I don't know the exact location. I leave that up to Public Works. But in this general area of what you're speaking, yes. Yeah, my understanding is that this storm pipe, over years and years of storms, has become completely blocked by large and small debris. So this project is to clear that out.
I mean, it's, the reason I'm asking, it's where the creek that we just did the work on for the two parks, I think it's in between those two things.
My understanding is that that water flow ultimately goes into that same area, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Next item is BOC-08-051426. Motion to approve addendum to memorandum of agreement between Abington Township Board of Commissioners and the Abington Township Parks and Recreation Department to incorporate the project scope prepared by the Abington Township Parks and Recreation. And that's a move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments or questions from members of the board? Commissioner Rothman.
I wanted to briefly explain a little bit about what's going on here, and then Ashley can answer some additional questions too. Or do you want to go first?
Sure, I can give a brief overview.
That's awesome. Thanks.
All right, let's just gonna shift over so that you can see it. So tonight is more of a formality. When the board adopted the memorandum in 2024, as part of that memorandum, it said that Parks and Recreation Department would develop a scope of work and come back to you for approval. This started in 2023 when the board appropriated funds for Manor Woods for the alternative trail option for that facility that was part of the 2012 master plan that was put together by the township and community. And so since that time, we've been working on the engineering piece to this, which all of the ARPA dollars have to be spent by the end of this year. And so we've gotten to a point that we feel pretty comfortable with the design, that it's, you know, the stormwater that's there, the parking, and then the kind of overall landscape of the trail. And so we're here tonight to discuss that with you because, as I mentioned, we are in engineering, but there are dollars left so that we can start to move forward with the construction of this site. And additionally, we have found a grant opportunity that would help us fund the project in totality once we get through those ARPA dollars. So the ARPA dollars aren't going to be enough to get us there, but there is a grant opportunity that we believe will be able to get us there with the help of construction services and public works. And so what we're seeing up on the screen now is the proposed trail. Again, the engineer looked at the 2012 plan, and the only, one of the big differences, I should say, it's minor in terms of where things are located, but the parking lot was shifted, so there was a set of trees that were dead. Better to take down those dead trees than to take down viable large trees. And again, the trail was maneuvered to try to make accommodations for trails to again, go where maybe we wouldn't be taking down large trees or would be taking down dead trees. And then when that plan was initially done, it was just conceptual. And so as we get through the design, we know we need to do some stormwater facilities, which is why we're seeing that basin there in the corner. And so this isn't final. This is, I don't want to say final-ish, but we're getting pretty close. At this point, we feel very confident in where that basin's located and that it's going to work for those facilities. And then we need to just work with Commissioner Rothman on making sure that this is laid out appropriately and that the community is in favor of it. So as part of this project, we'll have obviously the parking lot, the trail, stormwater work. We will have those tree removal, we'll have tree planting, and then the fence along Douglas and will be replaced. That was part of that original scope. And then we'll also be having a sidewalk go in along Forest Avenue and a crosswalk so that people can connect to Alvathorpe so that they can enjoy both the trails at Meadow Woods and then connect into Alvathorpe. And then we are, coordinating with the sisters and Manor College to make sure that it hopefully fits into some of their overall projects. I think this was initiated back in the day, and that was what was also discussed is could there be that larger connection with the college, with the sisters' property, should they ever put trails in. So we'll continue those conversations, but tonight is a requirement under that MOA that was adopted in 2024.
Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Rothman.
Thank you, Ashley. So this is good stuff, right? And we're up here and we're proud when we do good things. There is no baseball stadium coming there. There is no football stadium coming to this property. This property was purchased before I even lived in Abington, and it is about time that we see it come to fruition. Is it a game changer for all of Abington Township like some other things we do? No. But we preserve space when we can, and sometimes we can't, right? I mean, I wish that we had the opportunity to do this type of thing over by St. Basil's, but we weren't approached for the opportunity to do that. So, yeah, you might say to yourself, there's just another trail, but what if it wasn't just a trail? And what if we didn't try to preserve? There's dead trees that have to come down, and that's part of the way that the engineering went. Unfortunately, over time, this cost more than initially some of the design was going to, but the concept of the grant is awesome. Those grants are going to go somewhere. We want it to come to us. So overall, it's a really good thing. I'm sure that the streaming numbers of tonight's meeting are through the roof. So I'm going to guess that I'm going to be communicating for the first time with many people in the neighborhood there to let them know what this is looking like now that we had to act quickly. So that's what I'll be doing over the next few weeks. Mike O'Connor was the commissioner back when, for Ward 3, back when this was initially started. And probably I've only talked to him about this over the past 10 years, every time we chat. It's a good thing. So those neighbors will be informed of what exactly is going to happen, but we need to spend the money before it's gone. Otherwise, the taxpayers are going to be spending more money to get what we've always tried to get there initially. So Ashley's been doing an amazing job on this, keeping me posted on what we can and can't do right now. And I think it's going to be a really good thing. And, I just noticed when I drive around the township, there's little parks in various places, and it's just more and more of a sign of land that's preserved. So we can do that. It's a good thing. And I just wanted to put some of this information out there in case there are people watching and they're wondering what's going on. But more to come, and that is final-ish. We will look at the opportunity to maybe redirect and be a little further from some of the homes, but there's a fence there. There's all kinds of things that these residents there would want. And I remember when I first ran for office, I spoke with people and they were asking me if there was going to be a football stadium there, and every single one of them said no. And I coach lots of sports in Abington. I would love there to be more fields. That's not what the people want. That's not what we're going to do there. So thank you all.
Thank you. With that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt, I'm sorry, next one, BOC-09-051426. Motion to adopt resolution number 26-020, authorizing an application for the PA DCED Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program grant for $250,000 to complete the creation of a woodland trail in Manor Woods, and I so move.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? I think it flows from the last item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next item, BOC-10-051426. Motion to enter into an energy supplier agreement for natural gas at the lowest rate submitted by a reputable supplier through a bidding process, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
And the last item of new business is BOC-11-051426. Motion to appoint Michael P. Clark Esquire as hearing officer for the Appleton School District Middle School conditional use application, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? Commissioner Spiegelman.
Thank you, President Hecker. I just want to say, if we do indeed approve you, Mr. Clark, I look forward to observing very closely, because I will be an annoying and interventionalist observer throughout this entire process of the middle school conditional use. So thanks in advance, and look forward to seeing you in advance.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
And that concludes the new business for this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Vice President Vehy. Tonight, we will turn to the Vice Chair of the Finance Committee, Commissioner Spiegelman.
I'll make this a quick and efficient process. Our sole item on the Finance Committee agenda is FC-01-051426. This is a motion to approve the March 2026 expenditures in the amount of $3,873,263.45, and salaries and wages in the amount of $2,556,876.16, and authorizing the proper officials to sign and approve invoices and supporting documentation in payment of bills and contracts as they mature through the month of June 2026. And I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioners Rosenbaum,
Yes.
Rothman,
Yes.
DePlacido,
Yes.
Laney Martin,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Weingrad,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Capone, Young Gartz,
Yes.
Spiegelman,
Yes.
Martell,
Yes.
Schreiber,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Vice President Vehy,
Yes.
President Hecker.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
The motion is approved, and that concludes the business of the Finance Committee, unless you'd like me to add anything.
We're good.
Okay, cool. All right. Fantastic. You just let me know. I'm here.
I'll let you know. With that, we will open it up for public comment. If you wish to speak, please come forward.
Mr. Rothman, I've shown you photos of slum conditions, particularly all the blight behind Raymore and Flanagan, and you have said to me, what is wrong with those unhealthy conditions? I don't see a problem with blight, and I'm sure you don't remember, because that's how you are. Ross Abel is a realtor, and he is interested in being a landlord, which is interesting because he works for developers, because the Raymore, the Jenkintown Neighbors Association is a developer-involved association, so is Bike Monco, all developers, and he's interested in being one himself. I think that needs to be said. Slum conditions are the indelible mark left by Mr. Manfredi and commissioners. The acceleration of blight has increased since Mr. Manfredi took a background position. This leadership has welcomed the wholesale destructions of thousands of middle-class homes, trucks, boats, RVs, and construction wagons on front streets, driveways, and lawns. Vehicles are towed to homes to actually rot in Abington. The destruction of Abington is clearly orchestrated. Examples: 1835 Edmonds has a mold and a broken down car that sits for years. The next door neighbor now has piles of chairs in their yard. The blight's expanding. 1516 Howard is in decay. 2 boats, a broken down truck, canoes, and junk piles grow. Nearby neighbors now pile junk. 1575 Lukens has a collapsed roof that continually pancakes inward. I believe people live there. Nearby, 2 destroyed cars and a wagon rot in the grass. The house is dangerous. This has gone on for years. A dangerous home on Welsh and Osborne has 2 cars with expired stickers. 1 car has a flat. These cars have rotted for years on the corner. Forever Young on Easton has a back parking lot with a large trolley car rotting in weeds and trash. Destroyed construction wagon, RV with flats. A small sofa rots in the same lot. Why are commissioners for building crime magnets in a neighborhood with incidents of violence? Pershing near St. John has 2 food trucks, 1 with a flat tire, 2 boats and cars with windshield stickers that are out of date. They expired years ago. Housing in this area is falling apart. Why does the church allow broken down trucks, wagons, RVs to park on their lot indefinitely? Other nearby homes have a large flatbed truck, bus, wagons, and RVs sitting indefinitely. Lamont High Street, near Mrs. Laney Martin's home, across the street, has 2 broken down boats for years, 4 or 5 cars parked for years on the lawn. The house is destroyed.
Please wrap up your comments. Your time has expired.
A decayed home, a boat that grows seasonal weeds,
Ms.
and an
Kubel?
RV, both rot.
Your time has
The
expired.
blight
Please take your seat.
spreads.
Thank you.
What are you going to do?
Take your seat.
That's doing nothing.
Take your
You're
seat.
destroying where I live.
Take your seat. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Gallagher, and I'm co-chair of the Abington Shade Tree Commission. This comment is in regard to 221 Morden Road land development application. The Shade Tree Commission has 2 primary concerns that the Planning Commission addressed in granting their preliminary approval, but I do want to bring them up in front of the whole township because I think this is a problem with typical land development applications. Our first concern is land disturbance and tree removal without approval from the township. So the Shade Tree Commission review letter expressed concern that the applicant had begun removing trees without having a permit or township approval to do so. At a site visit, the STC observed that numerous trees in excess of 6 inches diameter to breast height had already been cut and removed. There were also piles of cut logs. Our saldo states that no entity shall subdivide or develop land in the Township of Abington unless and until a final plan thereof has been approved in writing thereon by the BOC. In the applicant's response letter dated September 29th, 2025, the response to this concern was no response required. Our second concern is that there was inadequate protection for existing shade trees in this application. The applicant proposes to remove 178 trees in excess of 6 inches diameter to breast height, which is 44% of the 403 trees the applicant has cataloged on site. And in a revised submission, they increased that number to 195, which is 52% of the existing canopy. We have existing codes to protect removal of large trees in land development projects. SALDO requires, quote, that the developer shall endeavor to preserve existing shade trees in the development of the property. The zoning ordinance requires that trees in excess of 6 inches diameter breast height shall be preserved whenever possible when a plan calls for removing more than 25% of the tree canopy. It further requires that all subdivision and land development shall be laid out in such a manner as to minimize the removal of healthy trees and shrubs. The STC asked the applicant if there was truly no alternative layout that would result in fewer trees, and in their response letter, they completely sidestepped the issue, as they did in the first concern. They said, the tree protection fence has been adjusted to provide full protection of the forested areas to remain. So this is not an atypical land development application. Developers come in, they cut down trees, or they don't follow the saldo. And unfortunately, we don't seem to have the meat in our codes to enforce this, right? So we appreciate that the Planning Commission listens to our concerns, but it's more of a systemic problem. And when our Master Tree Action Plan was approved a few years back, I think it was 2023, we proposed a new new tree protection ordinance. We are continuing to try and push that forward. This has been sitting with the solicitor for quite a while now, and we need your help in protecting trees. We cannot do it. We're a volunteer organization. We care a lot, as you know. We put in a lot of time. We can't do it alone. We need tree protections by law. We can't go around knocking on doors saying, please don't cut down trees. So this is a plea for action from the Board of Commissioners to, first of all, impose those conditions on the 221 Morden Road land development, but also to look at this as a systemic problem with our land development process and help to improve the process to further protect trees.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm sorry if I went over a little
No,
bit.
thank you for your
Thank
comments.
you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else in the room that wishes to speak? Come on forward.
Joe Rooney again. A couple quick ones. First, like public service, Queen of Peace Parish, corner of Fitzwatertown, North Hills. We have our carnival, started last night, and it goes through Saturday, 6 till 10 tonight, 6 till 10 Friday. Weather's going to be great. You're all invited. Bring your kids. And Dennis Apone has done an outstanding job for the last year putting this together. He's a Ward 9 commissioner. Queen of Peace is right in Ardsley and Upper Dublin. So he's there working right now. We're there early. We're there at 12 till 3 or 4 this afternoon. I'm here, but he'll be there till 10 o'clock tonight, and I'm going back. So you're all welcome to come. And it was a really wonderful night last night. Weather looks good. The second one, Adele brought up the problem with the minutes. So at the last meeting, I made a reference to the planned, who knows how much for a new library. I guess at least $15 million. And I mentioned that the middle school, as it sits right now by Abington School District, is valued at $100 million. It says $1 million in the minutes, or whatever you call it, after that. So I'm not throwing darts. I'm just mentioning that stuff happens. And my point with that whole thing was that $100 million is owned by Abington School District, which in Rockledge and Abington Township taxpayers own that. And it's absolute catastrophe to tear that down. We already have parking lots. We already have, any of you all ever been in the library at the middle school? It's actually a beautiful building. And if you looked at the presentation at the school district, they showed a new library in the new $285 million building. It doesn't look any different than the one we already own. So tearing that stuff down, making us spend $15 million for a new library, we got it already. It needs to be, might be renovated or updated. There's got to be some way to try and save some money with that. I do not believe the Abington Township and Rockledge taxpayers will be fairly represented by Mr. Clark. He has not demonstrated anything that I have seen to say that we're going to get a fair representation or an impartial representation at any hearing. The Economic Development Corporation. So we've spent over $100 grand already on lawyers and consultants. What can we expect for the next $550,000? Would it be similar to that? It looks a lot like a slush fund. When Mr. Manfredi leaves and then he goes and becomes a consultant for the Economic Development Corporation, and now we're paying him for that, and what's going on. It's just something that we hear about fraud everywhere, okay? From the intermediate unit in the county, buying 3-week safaris in Kenya, to what you hear in LA and what you hear in Minneapolis or wherever else. So how are we protecting ourselves for this $550 grand? And then just finally, for the new commissioner, it would be wonderful not to have just another aye for the 13 other aye votes all the time. It would be wonderful to have a fresh perspective, new ideas. Maybe out of 15 people, somebody could have come up with, there's something we can do with St. Basil's other than put 150 row homes in there. So, I mean, there's got to be a good perspective rather than just aye. That was all. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll turn to Zoom.
Laura Lehman.
Laura Lehman, Meadowbrook. And so thanks so much to Trish Gallagher for her tireless advocacy for the greenery of Abington Township. And Leopard Road is actually the exact applicant that illegally was a party to the 100 trees that we illegally lost over at Valley Road. So I hope somebody is counting trees now. And I would recommend, I don't know what Ms. Gallagher has already, but I would recommend that we have a look back to how many trees came down in the last 5 to 10 years. And then we can take a look at what the developers are planning and doing. Mr. Rothman, Commissioner Rothman, you said that the property was bought for Manor Woods before you came. Then perhaps you don't know the tale of complete corruption that began that saga, which was a very cheap purchase from the Sisters of Holy Redeemer by a firm that came from the Chesapeake area, where our then manager had a whole lot of connections. And that firm then presented to the township board to approve that particular property for an Alzheimer's facility, okay, which of course was right next to, regular township homes, et cetera, et cetera. And the big deal was that there was no sewer or water. Cheltenham was in the middle of its moratorium. There was no end in sight to that. So the property was almost worthless because you couldn't build on it for at least 5 years, they imagined, and possibly much longer. And so that Abington Township, in its wisdom, approved the Alzheimer's facility, which apparently drove the price of the property through the roof, and then the township bought it. It's mind-boggling to watch this stuff. And in the meantime, after many, many meetings with the residents, there were 2 plans put together, one for the walking trails after residents had gone ballistic over the football field. And yet, what they finally approved and retained was a finished plan that had both plans in there, either walking trails or fields. So please don't dismiss everything so out of hand. Ask some questions first. And if you want to know more about it, I have the documents.
Okay.
And
Thank you, Ms. Lehman, for your comments.
Ross Abel.
Hello, Ross Abel on Washington Lane again, and with Jamestown Abington neighbors. First off, I wanted to give a shout out to everybody at the township and all of our reps who helped to make the Abington Jamestown Connections project happen. I know we're not all the way there, and the ribbon cutting was yesterday, but it is looking awesome, and I love to see these sorts of pedestrian-oriented projects. So thank you for that. And also wanted to note along those lines that one of the greatest things about this project is that it connects to Abington Arts Center and Alberthorpe, and critical in that is actual access to Alberthorpe via those trails, which generally are locked up at our gates. And so I want to reiterate, as I have before and as I've heard from lots of residents, please let us have access to our park and not have to go all the way around to the opposite side for those of us who live north of Alberthorpe. Beyond that, thanks Adele for the shout out. I don't yet know any billionaire developers, but I will let you know when I do. I separately would love to call attention to the need for a strategic approach to traffic calming. I know this is something we've been asking for a while. I would love to see the police are currently drafting a traffic calming policy, which we've heard, but I would love to see the township actually structure a commission for traffic calming so that residents and the township and our engineers could work together and the police to take strong calming measures to our streets, which are just getting used more and more as cut-throughs and people driving more and more dangerously. So I would love to see that. And then separately, I know we have the Parks and Open Space Committee, which just is supposed to be, I guess, an ad hoc committee. But I would love to see something just going forward, a regular meeting group that is planning strategically where residents are involved, that look at parks, open space, active transportation in our township and how we can keep moving. I mean, I know our folks on the staff, like Ashley, are doing awesome work. I'm so excited to see about these trails. Manor Woods, love it. But I would love to see an ongoing, regular meeting group that is focused on these sorts of projects. So thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we are adjourned.